is getting up towards the high. We're seeing a little inverse from Bitcoin again as Bitcoin is pushing down towards the low. If you're just joining us for the first time and you're wondering what the only trading tool that you'll ever need is, it is the profile, the TPO, right? Understanding the TPO is all you'll ever need. Okay, so let's take a look at the market. Well, this thing's like, for some reason, not showing me that I'm live. Anyways, so we can see off of the open today, and if you watch the open today, we got a little bit of bounce around, got a little bit of downside, basically just a check into Friday's value area. It's kind of a rejection, came back up, came all the way up. B period opened up, put in a couple ticks of the high. Now there we go. Then we're starting to take that top, and then it came back down, and then never came back down to the open, right? So fairly strong open so far. One thing that we have to monitor for is continuation. So what we want to see here as we're popping up to this upside is going to be some volume starting to come in from this level. One thing I do want to show you guys too is after we see that pop, so I'm just adjusting my trade real quick. Is there is a divergence going on kind of throughout the market here. If we take a peek, the ES is positive. Look at the NASDAQ, getting up there. I have an alert on the NASDAQ to see if it breaks out of this kind of little balance that it's forming. The Dow is just barely turning green, right? Still lagging way behind. The Russell, still lagging behind. And then if we take a peek over here at our bigger stocks at the FANG, I mean, you can see Tesla's up 3.5%, Netflix up, Facebook's up, right? So pretty much all of our big names. You got a little bit of healthcare and Berkshire holding. I'm not a huge fan that we got up here and didn't put in too much volume, but I mean, it's still getting there. What's the VIX? Let's go ahead and let me know if this looks too small. Because really with the VIX under 20, we should be tracking at 1 TPO, so. Thank you, Double. Mr. Red, how's it going? And if you are joining us for the first time on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, just make sure to like and subscribe. That way you get the updates when we go live every single day. I'm gonna drag this around. Not working. Go. We have a little while until E period opens up. Oh, we're on early today, huh? Hey. Let's take a peek at Bitcoin and kind of what I'm expecting as we get back down to test this lower part of this zone. There was an opportunity to get short yesterday as it popped back up into our balance area, but we weren't able really to capitalize on. Well, I wasn't able to capitalize on it. I wasn't really paying attention. I mean, you can see we're still kind of in here, almost in the same situation. We did have a breakdown, which led us down for a longer trend. It popped above and then popped back up. But you can see value is basically shifting, to the balance here, right? Just a pretty wide balance forming on Bitcoin. This just, kind of just being a liquidation and then right back to balance. So we're still up above that 45, this 45.0250. That's where I really didn't like that break, but it ended up coming right above it. back to it, and so there's still this opportunity here if some buyers start to pour in. Not that it looks like they are, but if buyers pour in to push it up already, guys, over a year. Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a long time. Been a long time. And so if Bitcoin is able to get some volume again when it comes down here, you might see it hold and then test the bottom of this range. And if there is a break really of this range here, we have a little bit of balance down here. But below this 44.85, you're looking down into the 42s where there's, a little bit more uh, interaction here. 42 to 41.04. Time flies when you're having fun. Not as active as cryptos. Yeah, I actually just started. Well, crypto wasn't very active for a while, to be honest. You'd have to search for plays. It wasn't like we were getting plays all the time like we used to. Morning, Pop. But as the market comes back down to this 56 level, we've seen this 56 level be like a very important level, pretty much all morning back and forth, hanging out on it. So watch how it auctions down to this level, and see if we see some buyers step in here again. Right, we should see them, if they're still going to be active off that pop, they should still be active right here. If not, that's going to kind of let us know that the that bidding might be done, but it does look like they're already starting to try to get in front of this. I'm zooming out to see if we can find some levels. Yeah, next level up would be like 69, I think. If the single prints are up at 66, 67, and then 69 would make sense as far as where price would try to go. The next boot camp, I don't know, man. I'm getting a lot of requests to teach the boot camp again. It just takes a lot of time. That's the thing. And like last time when I taught the boot camp was summertime, so my kids weren't in school, so it was a little bit easier for me to schedule it around. I mean, I'd like to. I enjoy teaching. So. I don't know, man. If we keep getting a bunch of interest in it, then might just have to teach another one live. So a little bit of a push down right there, right? Saw that they tried to pop up. You get a quick liquidation. So now you watch. So basically, we'll watch this 59.75 level. If they're able to get price back above that 59.75 level, that's probably where you'll start to see some short covering. But it looks like someone is trying to absorb up here now. We've got a little bit of a battle in between like 62 to like that 56 level up here. But you're starting to see volume, come in up higher, right? So we've got volume here, and they're trying to use it as a ladder. In volume up here on the 61 makes sense if they want to try to get up there and test that again. Morning, Trin. Oh yeah, I saw Twitter is way up. Morning, Dad. After Elon bought a ton of shares. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I said that Twitter was gonna go up like last week because of that. So it's like the same news. So maybe we should sell puts on there or sell calls on there today. The live trade room. You could just join the Discord, Mr. Red, and then just pop in. I kind of got away from like doing anything like specific because I'm moving, so it's tough for me to really commit to like specific times every single day, you know what I mean? And so it's it's tough. Just join that Discord though right there. So the VIX is down, I mean, not much, just barely. Down about 0.5%. TLT is getting smacked today. Yeah, so you can see where most of the buying's coming in today here, right? Why this thing won't let me grab here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook. I heard something about Nvidia, and I think it was Apple doing some partnership. So that's something to watch out for. Big time, right? We've known Nvidia's been a big, uh, basically a big boost on the way up, kind of the starter that really led the charge on the way up on this recovery. Um, And so if they're partnering with Apple, which happens to be one of the stronger stocks that's out, then that could really be a pretty big mover. Elon owns 10% of Twitter now. I guess he's the largest shareholder for him. So we're starting to see the volume continue to come up here. I'm just taking a peek at some of the order flow with the options here to see if some like where we're seeing a lot of trades on the VIX are puts on the bid. So somebody's selling puts on the VIX. So someone's expecting the VIX to go up today at least. At least that's the way the options are trading. And then it looks like someone's selling puts on the ES as well. So that could be, it could be over like closed volume from Friday as well too. So it's really hard to tell. So watch here, watch for this 885 right here to see if we get some more volume up here. This was kind of a thin spot. So you want to see them start to buy up here at this 61. That's going to kind of give us that sign that that opportunity is higher. All right, and this spike base is from, a couple of days ago when we had a spike on the that big spike where it was like 40 points or something up spike. Not able to get up to that 6150 that time. The market's very slow today though. Very slow. Where are you looking to get that information? The options. I'm looking on Thinkorswim. So like if we go over here, Thinkorswim, I'll click at trade. And so I'm looking at this right here. And so basically what this is telling us is we're having a lot of puts trade, but they're all trading at the bid. So you would figure someone's moving down to sell the bid and they're selling puts. So if you're short puts, you expect the market to go up. Right? And you can see the buying on the buy side is, fairly even, a little bit more trading at the ask, right? So there's a little bit more aggressive buyers buying calls at the ask. But people are buying calls at the ask and selling puts. So they're kind of expecting the market to go up. At least that's how I'm interpreting these options. There's more advanced programs that break everything down for you. But it's just, I think, better probably just to learn that stuff and then know it. And I mean, if I was going to trade options a little bit more aggressively or more often, then yeah, I'd probably get some of those programs. But I'm just trying to see the flow of the market through the options, really. So right now the flow looks up, right? It looks like people are shorting puts and buying calls. So it's not as aggressively as buying calls. So they might be selling puts a little bit farther out of the money, which would make sense because the volume today is super light. What's the volume today? 482,000. Pretty light volume, especially about 4 periods in. New period about to open up in about 6 minutes still, but 400,000 volume, pretty light today. And it's pretty hard to go down when there's just not enough volume. Yeah, for sure, Thomas. Yeah, it's good information. And the cool thing about this is free, right? Thinkorswim is free. You just need to have an account. That's it. And to open an account, it just costs whatever. I think you could put a couple dollars if you wanted to open up a TD Ameritrade account. They're not worried about how much money. They just want you to use your account because that's how they make money off transactions. And I've never had any issues with them as far as like getting in and out of things. Not like Robinhood when I got exercised on a call position one time for like I think it was like 7,000 shares of Caesar or something like that. Well, Robinhood just opened up their hours a little bit to try to get more people to trade on there. So they're gonna Start letting people trade pre-market possibly. Yeah, well, that's because they get to execute you wherever they want because they own the coins when you own them on Robinhood. So you never actually owned the coins on Robinhood. That's the part. That's a smart for them. Because I mean, it is kind of a hassle. Think about the first time you ever opened up a crypto account to trade crypto or even just to buy crypto. It's kind of a hassle. You got to like open up a wallet. You got to make sure you write down this key because if you lose it, your wallet's just gonna be gone forever. You're fucking, 87 Bitcoin in there. So it's I think that these sellers are probably going to be pretty active again at these single prints here. So just be careful if you are long when we get up there, and I'm long also, but I'm looking to take some off the table at these single prints if we get up there because that you could see strong selling come in. I mean, you could even see them front run those single prints and hold them. So just be cognizant of that. Off for the 62 again. Same spot. It's the same spot that they tried to hold earlier. Yeah, so 62 to 56 is kind of the this range right here, and you see buyers kind of getting in, to the top side here, and with a new period opening up in about 2 minutes, it'll be interesting to see if we open up on singles or if we don't. Look at that chunk of volume below us, above the C high, right? So you know that some initiated buying came in right there up at that 60. So you can expect some if we get some downside, expect some buyers to be showing up there. Looks like they want to take it early. I'm not against. So go on, do your business. Yeah. Mm. Need to get above that 62 with some volume, and then this thing starts to go. There is some buyers that are active up here, though. And there's resistance like 65 to 70. It really is resistance, but those single prints are up 66 3/4, 67 3/4. Oh, I didn't know Biden called Putin a criminal. He said Biden's President Biden says Putin is a war criminal. Says he's going to continue to add sanctions on Russia. Biden says he is calling for a war crime trial. Damn. So now we open up on singles. Watch the high. Poor high here. Buyers are active up here. We know that. Let's see if sellers try to reoffer up here. Buyers need to keep this above that 62 this time. If they lose that 62, there they go. Pathetic. Yeah, they don't want to lose this 62. Let's see if they try to buy this 62 again. Did. Buyer's still active. I really hope nobody's short. If you're short, I'd love to hear why you're short. So we could talk about it. Maybe try to work through things on why you have a complex being right and just trading against the trend. Nice. All right, single prints are 66.75 here. A little bit of resistance here. Like I said, 65 to 70 is resistance. Whole area over here, really. All right, watch the 62 on this little pull down. You're starting to see some offers start to hit. They buy it back. So they lose the 62 there. Still trying to hold it. If you start to get some volume down below here, there's a good opportunity to retest this big chunk of volume down here. I could have sworn I said a Pockies. Boom. Okay, good. Little liquidation here. Still watching the singles. And remember, is there anyone out there that can allude to the reason that I was talking about earlier with why nobody should be short right here? Singles below, definitely one. Nailed it, right? With this huge set of single prints, we can kind of assume that, there is some opportunity to test it, right? Especially with the open, we leave a big set of single prints like this. But when the B period wasn't able to get below that open, that's kind of a sign right here that this is a test of Friday's value. And, they were like, yeah, we've done our business there. We moved up above Globex, and that's where the volume came in at, right? So probably a bit of a squeeze. And then more volume keeps coming up. So, I mean, yeah, we are coming down now, which makes sense because resistance is right here at 65. But until we get this break of one time framing, in reality, you should just be looking for opportunities to buy dips, right? And that's it. If you're shorting this, right, I mean, you're just trying to time it. And when timing works, it's so pretty, but it just doesn't work as often as it would need to be worth it, right? Unfortunately. The Nasdaq is just getting bought up right now. The Nasdaq's up 1.5%. The Dow is flat. Russell's flat. ES is up 0.5%. We've got some things that are probably should be up. Probably should be down, right? It's kind of a weak signal here that the market overall is not really buying into this rally, right? If we compare, um, see this? So look, we've got XLK, XLC, XLY. We've got communications, technology, and consumer staples here, and then everything else is down below zero, but the market's up 0.5%, right? And that's because of the weight of these sectors. That's why we always try to track the weight, because if you looked at this and you're like, oh, 7-3 or 8-3, I guess the market's going to go down, right? Everything's down, but the big weighted sectors are really what's keeping it up. And so what we need to do is look at those big names that are keeping us up, and that's why I like to track. Or we can even go to the website here. Where's it? I found a new website this week. DA pumping. DA. Oh, on the ES. So there's this website on this weekend called Selector Spider. I mean, it's not like some hidden website, but you can view all the individual sectors, and you can, see just a little bit more information about them. So if you wanted to look into them, right, you can see some of the symbols that are in them. I mean, real estate, right? So 27.88%. We look at some of the holdings, right? Apple being the biggest holding. You can see the index weight 22%, Microsoft 22%, Nvidia is only 4%, Visa 3%. So you can see Microsoft and Apple, if they're doing well, good opportunity that XLK is going to be up. Not bad. I already closed my longs. So yeah, just watch that 56 level. That was that. I mean, really, like 57 3/4 to like 56 is where buyers were active last time. Seeing a little bit of activity right here on the 59, honestly. Sellers moved down 63 to 62 again. See if they can get above the 62 here. There's some selling up here. There's some trying of selling up here. I don't know if I'd call it selling. I'd call it trying. Those poor guys. So I just took all their lunch money. Oh, I can't open Ninja Trader. It keeps giving me an error. Unable to connect to the database. The database file is larger than. You might have to. You might have to. Um, Erase like the temporary files in it. Ooh, oil's getting ready to break down. What's the news? Let me look real quick, pop at what it's called. Because I'm pretty sure I know. I just have to look at it. I'll show it to you. So go here, uh, documents, Ninja Trader 8. Go to your DB and delete this cache here. Delete everything in there, and then try to restart it, and that should work. Yeah, no problem. Let me know if it works. Look for them to try to push. And they're still selling. They're selling. These sellers are active like 62 to 63.50, but once they get above that 63.50, they should go try to touch those single prints. This E low is kind of mechanical too, guys. So just watch that low as well. Right, about a tick above that D half back. NX doing. NX is chilling. I'm gonna start marking stuff right on the top for us guys, and then we just know it goes down. I swear to God, when we mark the VIX, it has not been up to where we marked it. We marked it, and like the next day, it just started going down, and then down and down and down, and then we started that fucking just huge move up. Ooh, oil's about to break the low and try to fill a gap. It opened up on a gap, so if oil breaks the low, that's probably some decent opportunity for the market. Oil is still up over $100 though, so that's not really saying too much here. So, I'm just looking for news and stuff, guys, trying to see if we can find anything to tell us some information. I mean, people are just lifting the offer in the Nasdaq. Like everything in the Nasdaq is just fucking getting caught up. Except for Starbucks. Look at this here. I mean, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, pretty much everything. You can see TXN, Texas Instruments. Starbucks is getting clapped because they said they're gonna reduce their dividends. I'm pretty sure something like that. Um, AstraZeneca, right? No one believes in COVID anymore, so they're just giving up. Moderna is kind of the same. But I mean, you can see what the Nasdaq's made up of. Mostly these big tech names, and they're all green today, right? So that's kind of holding up the rest of the market. But a lot of times before, um, before crashes is when we see big divergences like this. The volume is still just super weak. 500,000 volume. There's the break to the upside, finally. See if they can go get those single prints. Yeah. So that impulse right here was like 64. Look for them to do a little backfilling right here. And then see that 238. They should be buying this right here to keep it up. If not, you might get a rotation back into the range. Get right up to that 65. Back down. Only 7 contracts traded on that high, so gold is doing good. Nice. Let's gold up 0.5% today, $10. Nice. I'm pretty heavy into gold as well, but physical gold, not gold futures. Literally heavy. So see, we go back down, we fill it. Now we just continue our journey back onto the upside and try to fill these single prints. And on the inverse side, guys, like I said, I think there is some opportunity, or there probably will be some sellers active here, so we may get a little bit of a retracement. But if the sellers are not as active as I'm forecasting, there could be a quick move up to the 80. The 80 is our next level up, that 45.80, and I'll show you why. We've got this. You can see where we're at right here. This is kind of an upper little balance, but we have that 80, which happens to be that VPOC version point of control, and then the volume point of control is right here, 79, 80. So not much else in between here. And remember, the spike, this was the spike I was talking about. We had this huge move down that one day, and we used it as a spike, right? Ended up trading below it. We just didn't trust it on Friday. And then here, if we get above it, start to hold, it just makes sense. I mean, you've got this low here, like 76. This area makes sense, this 80, 76. And there's really nothing between here, right? This was kind of just a back and forth day that finally just broke at the end of the day. So if it gets above, there's good odds that it runs into this zone up here. So don't try to just be getting short up here just because we should be hitting some resistance. You have to pay attention to the auction. So when the auction gets up here, as the auction gets up here, what we're paying attention to is, are we seeing responsive selling or are we seeing initiated buying? Probably a bit of both, but who's being more active? And we've seen, pretty easily since the open that buying has been more active, right? And they even got a second chance in that B period, excuse me, to buy again and continue to move price up. So there's no reason to try to fight it until we get, a cessation of one time framing and start to see some supply. But until then, there's no reason to try to fight this off. You said GC. Still kind of looking at this big balance for gold. For gold to get a lot more attention, it's going to have to get back up above this 2000. One of my buddies actually shorted gold when it was up above 2000. Like, gold's expensive to trade though. We've got trap sellers, down here, we saw all those people shorting that 63 to 62 area earlier. Now that we're above it, the more time we spend above it, the better odds that they start to cover their position. And when the shorts are going to cover, it's going to be buying it back. Yeah, the sectors, we've got information technology, consumer discretionary, and communications, green, everything else, healthcare, financials, industrials, consumer staples, energy, materials, utilities, real estate, all red. So watch this 63 to 62 area where the sellers are trapped, see if they can get back down. And as they get back down to break even, you know what a lot of people do? Think about, you know, the psychology of a position. If you've ever been in a position, right, and it was red, as soon as it gets back to break even, how much closer are you to just closing it? Because you're just, you know, you're like, oh, hell no. All right, I'm done. Right? And so what happens is these people got short here on the initial push up. They were negative, and as it gets close back down to their thing, you know, back down to their break even point, they start to buy it back, buy it back, buy it back, especially when it stops moving and starts ticking back up. And so then what happens? It becomes a rush, right? It becomes, there's only a limited number of orders here. And if all of these sellers are short and they're getting close, and this is their break even spot right here, maybe there's 10 here, 10 here, 12 here, and all of a sudden, boom, these are gone, ticks back up. Boom, these are gone, it ticks back up. Well, now you're going to see all these people that were shorting are going to start being like, oh shit, I need to get out, I need to get out. And that's what causes these short covering rallies. And it's could be a combination of these people that are still short here that are covering the last bit of their, you know, their short. Look at the volume coming in up here too. Got our weak spots. On weak spots, to be honest. Mechanical low-ish, but Costco's going up. Nice. Finally. All right, I've covered everything except one lot, guys. Got my stop up to 64, and I'm just gonna set it there and see if we can get a runner, but if not, deleted everything in the cache, had no effect. Delete, no, don't delete anything else in there. You could delete the cache file. You might have to just delete NinjaTrader and re-download it. That might, I don't know. Or did you update it? Maybe you haven't updated it. There was an update. And if you haven't updated it, that's probably what it is. They should have sent you an email, though. Hmm. So let's pay attention here and watch the auction and see who's more active here. Let's see if buyers are more active or sellers are more active, right? And it's kind of hard to tell, but we can kind of tell. A little bit of short covering there. Pretty normal. Oh, come on. Give us that big short cover. The Russell and the Dow are starting to get on board. Nasdaq's up 1.7. ES is up 0.6. Russell and the Dow are up about 0.25. Okay, so we finally found someone willing to sell. They're selling back in those single prints again. Not looking good for him. But he just wanted to push it down a little bit to start to cover some of this position. That's all they did. Bitcoin's turned back down. New bar in 4 minutes too. So it's looking right now like that we might open up on some singles. A lot of times we get singles within singles. It's like almost mandatory, I feel like sometimes. So that high is mechanical, right? Very easy to spot seller up there. And look at the volume that came in up there. Pretty decent volume. Now we're getting towards the end of the session. So now that the auction's coming towards the end of the session, at the end of or at the start of each new TPO, we get new buyers, right? New people walking through the farmers market, new people online to shop for a TV or a computer screen. And so if you've got a bunch, if you've been buying a bunch, right? So let's say you're this person buying all these computer monitors, right? And then pretty much everyone in your group has decided, okay, this is where value's at. You start selling some of these before the next group comes in, because if the next group comes in and they decide, oh, I don't like, I'm not buying computer screens up here, I'm buying them down here. And then the market's going to start to auction down there, right? And so that's kind of what we're trying to discover, trying to see who's really paying attention and see where they're active at, right? So we've identified where the seller's active. The seller's active back in those single prints, which isn't surprising. We decided 65 to 70 was going to be resistance. And we're just deciding if the seller is going to, put his heart and soul on the line and try to break some of these lows, or have a cessation in one time framing, or even prevent the opportunity to open up on single prints. And then we just, get continuation of single or of one time framing. Yeah, so we're seeing some offers try to come in, but nothing crazy here. A little bit on that 65 3/4 and 65 half. Five, four, three, two, one. New bar. You're getting a little bit of volume here. See where they've got it. They can close these single prints. Oh, whoops. That's called short covering, friends. So did you see what happened there? Right? Somebody got back down to their break even spot. at 63 and then just fucking got out, right? Bought everything they had back. That's why that pop. I mean, that was like a 4 point or a 2 point pop, like just in 1 second. Because he just bought the entire book, just ripped it all the way up. Even on that top tick, that was only like 50 contracts on the top tick, and they were all on the buy side. There was no the top three ticks right there when that thing ripped up were all on the offer. But holds that level. Look at that, 65. This F halfback looks to be getting traded a lot right here. 65 was kind of the start of our resistance level too, so we can see if these sellers do think that they've got, what it takes, and they are able to hold it below this, we said 65 to 70 here. If they're able to start getting a hold of it, they'll start targeting some of these mechanical references, right? They know that this is weak, so if they get some supply, that's going to be their first target at 59. I'm not looking to get short. I mean, yeah, that's some opportunity, right? That's about, 5 points here. Um, that's a pretty decent amount of change, right? But it's just not going to give me much confidence of rotation until we break the elo. So I'd like to maybe I'd wait till we get to break of this elo before I start looking to get short. I still think these opportunities to buy these pullbacks really, and we haven't closed these single prints to the low here. If we get, excuse me, we get back above 65.50, I think we'll probably just run straight to 70. 70, maybe 69. 69 is that previous high. I started marking all these previous highs and lows since we're coming through them in these yellow lines. I was actually putting them like this though. Way easier, a little less crazy. Oof. There's a big order that just hit like 160 lots, just lifted the offer right there at 65. Still not able to push that low. They need to get back below that 63 again. That's where they were active last time, but they can't even get down there. Buyers are kind of just turning that into support now. See if they can fill these single prints. There they go. Imagine Twitter just goes up to 1,000, just like Tesla. Be insane. So they bounce right off that 63 quarter there, and we're watching this 66.50 above 66.50 for continuation. We want to see some initiated buying up there. I'd like to see some big orders start hitting up there so we can get continuation on this upside. Apple's up 3% today. Oh no, never mind. $3, my bad. 1.5%. Google's up 2% though. Amazon's up 2%. Tesla's up 4%. Those people that bought those Tesla puts on Friday probably like, fuck. Elon's such a troll, bro. He's so funny. Crazy. Roku just got to deal with Amazon, I'm pretty sure. Pretty slow market today. If there's anything that you guys want to take a look at, just let me know. Yeah, we're looking at we're only at 500,000, 550,000 volume. This is what summertime is like, guys. Summertime gets like this. Oh, this thing's about to go. Get above 66.50 is where that's the go spot on. Getting some brave shorters up here. Someone's gonna have to make them pay soon. Will it be me? Find out. Oh, it's my buddy Max Ramos' birthday. Shout out. Yeah, you're still seeing a bunch of put selling, and you're seeing call buying still. So, and see, this is what's kind of confusing if you're first looking at options. And I remember this happened to me when I first started looking at options. If you look at a PC ratio, which is a put call ratio, they say anything above one typically means that more puts are being sold, right? But or more puts are being transacted, um, which is sold or bought. It just depends, right? It just depends where the volume's at. But you have to take that into consideration and do your due diligence and see where they're trading at. If we have puts trading on the bid, so we know that you buy a put when you want something to go down and you sell a put when you expect something to go up, right? Because you're selling this person their put. You become premium uh collector. And so a bunch of puts are trading, but they're trading at the bid. So that means someone's moving down to get these puts. So either someone's aggressively getting into puts, which isn't happening. What's happening is that they're selling puts. And then over here, we've got 38 to 41. So you can see, pretty back and forth of patience and aggression. But you can see that buyers are a little bit active here. I mean, we can see it on our chart even more. And remember, the ES is not necessarily, or the ES options are not necessarily reflective of price action at all. Because they're used in a lot of different ways. They're used to hedge a lot. They're used a lot of dealers um, use them, right? I don't really. They're about to break that high. Get up above that. Need to get up to that 66.50. Here we go. Come on. Hmm. Kind of pathetic. Didn't get a lot of activity up there, right? That's where we want to see the activity. We want to see it up higher, right? Where that 569's at. That's really where we want to see the volume start to come in. We're not seeing it here. Now you're starting to see Bitcoin come up as well too. Remember, they've been inversely trading lately. But this is what I wanted to show you. So this is that COT report, right? This is just on bar charts. I've showed you guys the COT report before. But basically what we're looking at here is you're seeing asset manager institutional money for the first time since 5/3/2021 are actually, well, I mean, I guess they went positive here. So since 6/21/21, they're actually net negative, right? And dealers are actually long, and dealers are long for the first time since, 5, 10, 21, around back in this area, right? This is the last time they kind of swapped around. We can kind of see what happened the last time they did in the market. It got kind of choppy, right? Still grinded up. They got kind of choppy. Uh, Small speculators, that would be like you guys and me. Everyone's been short past couple of weeks, right? Because they're not paying attention, I guess. I mean, short bias is great, but actually trading short while the market's going up is just a mistake. So, um, that's just something that I noticed this weekend when I was kind of going through a bunch of charts. Oh, and then what I was telling Jared about yesterday, what I think might happen if this global conflict continues, this the palladium, however you say it, palladium, I can't say it. Tried a million times. Palladium, nailed it, right? The shit that's in lightsabers. So it happens to be the best thing in the world for conducting electricity. And what seems to be on everyone's agenda lately with, you know, the scarce of power, right? They're afraid they're going to lose power over the markets. Um, where's the buyers? Okay, but yeah, so basically it's the number one conductor of electricity, or the best conductor of electricity, and if everyone is worried about the power going out or energy crisis, right? That kind of seems to be the going trend right now with what's going on. It would make sense to maybe try to get a piece of something that's going to be the best energy conductor. I don't know, to me it does. And I think there might be some opportunity there with it pulling all the way back down to the 200 moving average, and commodities getting kind of smacked today. Even though oil's still up 2.5 3%. But oil bounced hard off the bottom too. The yield curve is inverted. Yeah, it's a leading indicator to a recession. It is. But there's all kinds of like speculation about the yield curve this time, and stuff going on with um like which one to track, and what how to track the inversion, because Hal said in one of his meetings that it was like the 3 month um to was he said the 3 month and the 10 year, and then some people say the 2 year and the 10 year, right? I think they're all inverted at this rate, but um there's nothing we can really do about it now. Yeah, it's a leading cause of a recession, but typically the next, on average, 12 months after that crossover, you see positive gains on the market. Um, of course, this is a little bit different. We had you know, a COVID plunge, which gave really like big money an opportunity to just come up fat, and then now we're having a global crisis, still trying to recover from that. So it's interesting. I think there is some progress getting made. I mean, at least in the United States. I know this New York City workers of Amazon just unionized, which will help because I've heard that Amazon pays well but does work a lot. So it could help with, overworking. I would say overwork employees maybe. F flow is mechanical. Oh, you know what I wanted to trade today too? Remember we talked about flies a while, or no, it wasn't oh, it's not called flies. What's it called? What's the That's called jets. We talked about jets a while back, and it's doing pretty well. I wanted to try to play it today, but it opened the gap and I didn't get an opportunity. Which is interesting. You would think that travel, like airlines and stuff like that, wouldn't be doing really well because um called gas prices are way up, right? Oil's still over $100 a barrel. You would figure that they would be not feeling great with that. But yeah, double R, I'm not paying too much attention to it, to be honest with you. Starting to see some sellers start to step in here, it looks like. Whoa, who's smacking that button? That is hurt. Order submitted. Starting to see some buyers step up here. Like ADA is the only thing holding strong. Big seller right here at like the 65 quarter, it looks like. So here's this seller right here. This is where he was at. Let's see if they get above him. 65 quarter. Or her. Whoever it is. Get above the seller. Still active. These are the days where I'm telling you guys, a fidget spinner or like in a Rubik's Cube or online chess, something that can keep you distracted from forcing a trade, uh, can be very worth it, right? Worth the money that it costs to buy a Rubik's. Seller's still sitting there. They're above him. Look for the buying to come in. Watch that 73. There's some buying. Sellers are still absorbing up here. Trying at least. Watch the 715. That's our weak spot. So that's a target. 66.75. We start trading 66.75 and volume starts to pour in. We should be in for some decent side. But the buying is getting thin up here for sure. Like you're not seeing as much activity from buyers as we have. But as we know, it doesn't take much buying to go up if there's no selling, right? Still seeing heavy put selling in the ES stuff. Nasdaq, not really. People probably too scared to sell puts on the Nasdaq. Not smart. Yeah. Buy is actually pretty 50-50. So it's just futures, so it could easily just be a hedge. Someone's someone's selling puts on the ES to hedge a position. Hmm. That would mean that they are short but expecting some upside, so hedging against it is what it looks like. If I'm connecting dots correctly. Watch for that 65 or 66 level did we say? 66.75. Not able to get up there. A little bit of a bounce right there. It's still active. The seller's still active there. You're seeing a little bit of liquidation there too by buyers. A lot of people, a little bit of profit taking right here is what that looks like to me. See if we get some volume up here. That 500 switch to 1,000 almost. That's where we want to see the volume. Four high. Yeah, it looks. It's hard to tell right here if it's taking profit, if longs are taking profit, or if they're getting long. I mean, it looks like the offer's getting lifted pretty steadily here. So Makes sense for the market to break up. We have a F low that's mechanical, G low that's mechanical. Just something to note, right? Just something to put in the memory bank. Let's fill those single print. I'm looking for that 70 here, guys. If we get a pop, I'd like to see us trade up to that 70. I'm not a huge fan if they give up the 65 here. We're getting a lot of volume up here, but we're not getting any price continuation, and we still haven't traded that top tick yet. I would like to see us trade that top. DXY is coming up to that. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I mean the dollar's still, yeah. If it breaks up out of this zone, the thing is like if you look at the dollar on the daily, COVID low, March 20th, dollar started to come down, but then I mean pretty much 19 May. Talking like back here, pretty much going up together. Get it back in January. January started coming down. January, yeah. So yeah, the dollar came down with the market. It bounced. Has been continuous higher highs. I don't know if it'll drag the market down though. That's the thing. It's just tough to tell. It's really just like the safest place to put money looks like the dollar right now. I do, yeah, I think it will drag down Bitcoin, crypto in general. People aren't putting their money into crypto and they're putting it in the dollar. Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to watch it play out for sure. Volume's still pretty weak, 581,000. All right, Mr. Red, see you later. Yeah, it is pretty boring here. The market's pretty low. See some of our bigger names are starting to consolidate up here. Netflix still kicking it, but Tesla's kind of trading sideways. Apple, Microsoft, you kind of see they're kind of trapped up in the zone. I'll be right back, guys. You're seeing some sellers get busy here. They're trying to push this thing down a little bit. Their target probably be like 56 maybe. If we get a cessation of one time framing here and break that F low, which is mechanical low, you have that spike base, you have the E open. There's going to be some buyers probably pretty active right here at that 62-ish level. 63 to 62 was our level earlier, right? There they are. Down to that 62. Like I said, I think their target would be 56. 59, 56. Let's see if buyers get back up above that 65 again, this thing will probably go. The sellers need to get it back below this 56. 56, remember earlier, was that kind of like that big level during D period that really kind of sent us on our way to for that continuation here. And then E period came down, couldn't even get there. Saw buyers step up on that 58. And if they can't, if sellers can't hold this thing below 65, then that thing will probably end up taking the top here. Doing a little bit of backfilling here, right? Coming down, filling in some of these weak spots on the way up, building that structure. Keys here that we want to pay attention to. Where is value, right? Value is higher. It's gapped up. We did look into that value. We know that this is a lot of single prints and the chances of all of them holding is not very good if they get tested again. That's the key here. So if this thing keeps going down and gets close to this low, there's a chance that we test back down into that settle. We're getting rejected off these single prints and value area low. I mean, there's just so many references here for people to sell off of. It just makes sense that that's where they were, kind of sitting to get short. It makes sense to do a little bit of backfilling, and really, I think buyers, as long as they close above that previous day high, that was kind of their only goal today. You're starting to see some sellers try to get a little bit more active here. But they really, I mean, they kind of need to get below 56 for any steam to build, because either there's just a lot of people long from down here, right? So if we know there's not a ton of supply in the market, which we know because we've seen it today, the volume is, what is it? What are we looking at? Volume is barely 600,000. And so if we are going to see a break, a liquidation break, where are we going to have to get below? We're going to have to get below where all the volume was at. We saw the big fight over 56. So if we pull back down into 56, this is a responsive buying opportunity. So if responsive buyers show up, well, then that's going to be an opportunity for them to push the market back up. If they don't show up, then they could liquidate. And if they start to liquidate, that's when we start looking to test some of those single prints of E period or of A period, right? And basically, right now, you're seeing a bit of that liquidation. They tried this top side a bunch, and then just could not get it. Now let's see. We're just, being patient, waiting for them to test this 56 here to see if they're going to be active again there. And really, to me, this just kind of looks like backfilling, right? Like we had that big move up, and this is just giving buyers an opportunity to, know, fill in some positions after they got enough inventory caught long. They were able to, average back in their positions. Let's see if we look over at the puts, still 60, still selling puts. Um, the VIX below 20 doesn't necessarily mean um the VIX below 20 doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be, institutions are going to be um easier to join bigger positions, right? What's interesting is we're seeing we're So we're seeing them hold, this long-term level and then kind of just hold in a balance. So I think really it's kind of unsure, and I think both sides are unsure. I think institutional money is unsure, dealer money is unsure. Leveraged funds are just gambling to the short side, hoping to hit a lotto. Um, right? I don't know why, but that's just what they do. And so, um, the VIX being below just means that people aren't buying as many puts, right? When the VIX is high, it's kind of like a fear gauge, right? And when people are fearful, typically they buy puts. Well, with the VIX going down, that means people are either selling puts or well, people are probably buying puts on the VIX, because they kind of expect it to go down more. If we look at it on a bigger picture, uh, here, you can kind of see it's just still in this range here from what is this? This January? Yeah, it's still in January's range. I'm just kind of monitoring that zone. A break above that, I mean, obviously that's a pretty high level, but a break above that could really be the start of something terrible. And remember, like, we still have this, geopolitical issue going on, this war going on. I mean, all over the world there's wars going on, but this is the one that's getting all the news attention. And it really just kind of depends on the outcome of that. If that thing starts to improve, a lot of the fear could go away, but and then we'll just have to deal with the financial repercussions of giving out all this money and shit. But if it gets worse, well, we're still gonna have to deal with that, and now we're gonna have to deal with it uh to the right. We're gonna have to push it off even more, which could, keep driving up inflation, which is what the feds are trying to curb right now, and it could, you know, uh lead us right into that recession. That's not ideal. I'd like to see these buyers step up here, like around the 62.75 level. At 62 to 63 level, at 60.5 was like our resistance on the way up, then it became support. So let's see if the buyers are able to buy through it and kind of fill in a lot of those weak spots up there. That D low or that G low is right to that D half back as well, so kind of mechanical. We had a poor high and a mechanical low. They said the stake that Elon took in Twitter was basically like buying a football team in the United States. No big deal. Just a Monday. What do you say? 565 billion in property damage in Ukraine with nearly probably something similar. I mean, I don't even know how they bill out certain things like that to the to the government. Like, I'll tell you what, like we don't get any extra like leeway. Like when your pay is messed up, even if it's your fault, they're just like, I'll just hold all your pay, and you come down to the finance office. You get like a paycheck that has zero, and then you just have to go down to finance and be like, what happened? $9 billion in your couch cushions? Yeah, seriously. So this will be interesting here if buyers are able to get going because you're coming right in that 62 again. This is kind of like it feels like we're just kind of bouncing back and forth in between this level. So if they're just still not able to get above that 62, this thing probably will look back down to that 56, back down to that the point of control. Yeah, if there's anything you guys want to go over, now's the time because the market's really not doing anything. And summertime gets like this, so like maybe during summertime we can teach. I could do. Well, summertime I'm gonna be moving really, so probably not. But we definitely could do something once I'm on the East Coast and set up. That'd be easy. We could run the boot camp like market open, something like that. Um, that one I'm just looking more at references, though. It's tough to tell um who's doing what. Really, what I monitor is like the breakout of these ranges. So like right now we're kind of balancing, I would say, like in between like 66 and 60 kind of, right? And so if we get above that 66 or we start heading back towards that 66 with some speed or some velocity and we start to see that buying increase, then that gives me more confidence that we're going to go head up towards that high. If we start to get back up to that 66 level and volume starts to kind of pewter out and we start to see a little bit of weakness, then it kind of just makes me think, okay, well, they're not they're taking profit. And even here, right here, I mean, there's another fail of that 62 level, so it makes sense that they want to come back down to this 56 level and try and offer down there. But it's just tough because we have to get some in order to get below that, there's going to have to be some liquidation or just no buying here again. So they come down here and they say, eh. And that would mean if we don't get a response from buyers here saying, this is a good buying opportunity, right? Because this is where value is at. Got our widest part of our profile, 4 TPOs. We do have 4 TPOs up here, so value is kind of shifting to the upside. And there's also 4 TPOs here, which is why the buying started. So we have 4 TPOs to down here. So this is value, forming value here. If they don't buy, if we don't see some responsive buying, buy here and take price back to the upside, that's kind of letting us know these buyers that bought here closed up here. But they're the selling that's happening up here. And then what that tells me is that these people that are shorting from up here, because some people are just naturally shorters, right? That's all they do is just wait for spots to short the market. So they're short from up here, mixed with all of our longs. getting short. Well, what happens when we come back in, buying steps up? If these people are not in the market anymore, let's say they already bought their position back, no one's going to be up here to short again. So as it gets up here, it makes this very weak reference. And above, I mean, above this level, really, I thought that we were going to get a bigger reaction above that 66 half, but nothing much, just a couple of ticks. But there's just not much resistance above this 70. So it just makes sense if they're able to get up there, these sellers are gone to take it higher. And then in the inverse, let's say these buyers don't buy back here, and that was them getting short, and we got some, you know, momentum shorts jumping on here late, mechanical G low, and then we get back down here, and these people that are still holding longs decide, okay, well, that's it for me, I'm going to liquidate. They start to sell, and then the market starts to push down, and the market's pretty weak down here, and we have a lot of single prints on the A low, right? Or like kind of a big move down and up. I have a fever. I'll never get bored. I legit could like sit here and watch this all day. I actually do sit here and watch it like all day. I mean, I do other stuff, but I always have it up on the screen. And now I got these TVs that you can just flick your phone to them with the iPhone. Like everywhere in my house, like walk into a new room, walk into the what's it called? The fucking garage or the garage, Tommy, my bad. Walk into the living room, walk in the kitchen, fucking flicking charts on every screen in the house. I theorize that the larger relative volume is at the lows of the range. The probability is that it breaks to the upside. Volume at the highs of the range, more break to the downside. Theory. Yeah, so you're so the thing is, and that's a lot of times how people use volume profiles, right? So people use a volume profile like these peaks as like resistance, right? So here's gonna be a resistance, here's gonna be a resistance. Um, but they're not paying attention to the auction, right? And it might act as a bit of resistance, but we know this, you know, basically 6250 to 6350 is where the resistance is at. And the reason is because there's no volume there. And that's because nobody traded there, right? And so these areas are always more important than these big volume areas because there's really no way for you to know how these orders are being executed. Let's see if we keep one time framing lower here. You know what I mean? Like you could look on a footprint, or you could look at delta, and it'll tell you whether it trades on the bid or the ask, but it doesn't really tell you if it is a new position, right, or a closed position. Because if you have a buyer who's long and they sell, that's not enough to push the market down, right? Because this is basically giving us zero of open interest. Everyone knows what open interest is, right? I put a position in, you put a position in, we become a position, right? I buy something, Jared sells something at the same level, we're one open interest, right? Um, and so that's kind of how we're looking at this auction. And so like when you get right here, there's no new positioning, no new positions being open. So even if we get up here and a bunch of volume starts to form, that's not necessarily saying, you know, that we're going to go down or we're going to go up. What we're paying attention to is the reaction. That's the key, is the reaction. And I mean, yeah, there's opportunities like, okay, let me just let let me get long off of this because it's going to bounce as support or something like that, right? And sometimes it happens, but sometimes it goes right through because it's not looking for a specific um it's not looking for a specific level. It's looking for what do you call it? It's looking for that auction, right? It's trying to complete an auction. So if there's orders down there, then it's going to trade to them. But if the orders are not down there, then it's not going to trade to them. We're starting to get below that spike base here too. And it depends too, it depends too, like on the time frame and like kind of what you're looking at right there as well. Because if you're looking at volume over the period of a day, it's a little bit different than if you're looking at the volume in that bar. You know what I mean? So like initially when we first came up into this balance here, we had this break here. I don't know if you guys remember. We had this break here and a bunch of volume came in down here at the lows. And I said, yeah, we have these previous two lows, but it makes sense if it comes back down to test that volume because it got a lot of volume. So yes, you know, it did bounce. Where's my pen at? So when this came down, a lot of volume came in and market bounced. It went up. But then it came back down to test that volume. And you can see, you know, how it acted. I mean, it was actually a pretty decent level. We were looking to get short here, but didn't. I wanted to get short just a little bit higher, but didn't get the opportunity. $13 contracts trade on that low. We are one time framing down still, so now. What else? What else? Damn, I only got filled on one lot right there. 57.75. Damn. Illinois coal rises $109.55 a ton. The energy, it's just anything that's going to involve energy is kind of on the rise right. But I think that Jedi Paludinium, however the fuck you say, important. I don't know if there's an ETF that tracks it. I wonder. Uh, PALL. These are actual physical shares. Yeah, this is the only one right here. On here, if there's no options on it, you just have to buy it. Airlines are way up today too. NGPLD. The English energy company, ASC. Yeah, there you go. And now watch that 62 half to 63 half. See, the volume's actually a little bit more today, 1%, nothing really crazy, but the volume's actually a little bit more than it was on Friday, even though it doesn't really seem like it, because there was that big liquidation early on Friday. Not really seeing any strong reaction from not much response from the buyers yet. Uh, would you say have you heard the new F-22 Super Raptors coming out? I have not. Does who's making it? Is Lockheed Martin making it? Oh my God, it's like watching paint. If it continues on like oh, they're making improvements for superiority. Yeah, I mean it could probably keep driving them up, especially with what's going on too. As long as they get bought, you know. But Lockheed Martin, they I don't know, do they only supply the US? Were they like the main US supplier? That's water, guys. Make sure everyone's drinking water. It's very, very important for life. They don't use it. Oh, they don't sell the F-22. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I think we might just call it here. It's getting fairly boring. Um, Dang, fairly boring. Market's not really moving much. Not really a ton going on today. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna be. I just have stuff to do. The market can be boring. I'm just not bored. I mean, you guys can just sit here and listen to me do other stuff on my computer. Because when the market's bored, I'm just like, I have the TPO on the screen that everyone's looking at, and I just look at it and then buzz around on the read something. You know, so it's falling asleep at your desk. You feeling better, Alex? I know you were sick like last week. Where's the other Alex? I haven't seen him in a while. Oh, he was deep into the Cardano game, so he should have been happy with Cardano pumping up. Stagflation risk to financial institutions. Damn, what is that? 51. GameStop's still hanging out up in this upper balance up at 170 right now. Starting to break the highs. Remember, as we pump up here, you're looking at that 62 half to 63 half. That's where you want to see the reaction. If we come up, right, we get into this area and we start to hang out, volume starts to fill in, that's good for the upside. If we come up and reject, that's good for the downside. Right? Not saying to short if we break out, because it could easily come here, buyers say, I like this spot, buy it again. And then, the less sellers here, more opportunity there is to move back up to higher opportunities. But that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for, if it does come up here and test this level, where is it going to fade from? Or is it going to hang here and start to build volume? Seeing sellers sit heavy on the 150. Like, only have one on. That's so annoying. My wife says if you get bored, you must be bored. Yeah, for real. There's always something to do, and like that's the thing is like 20% of your time is actually spent trading, if that, right? Maybe even less time is spent trading. And the rest of your 80% of your time, even when you're sitting at your computer desk, yeah, you're paying attention to the auction and stuff, but if the market's slow like this, you're not necessarily going to be looking to get into a trade right here at this spot, right? We're kind of waiting on this reaction. So there's nothing wrong with pulling up a book, even if you just pull it up on your computer so you can read it next to the market while you're looking at it. Here we go. Watch for that test in there. Mechanical selling off the G half back. Nothing special. I want to see I'd like to see just a nice quick move to 66. Really just let us know that these sellers were full of shit. I did look a little bit into the GAN thing that you were talking about, but I just don't have I'm on like a different rabbit hole right now with the um with that aluminium or whatever thing. Caesar, what's up, man? So I haven't had a chance really to dig like too deep into it. Starting to get some good volume up here though. No, it's super. I don't know if these profile. So you got sellers absorbing that 62 half again, but they're getting some actual attention up here. See what I was talking about. Selling. I just don't know if I trust this seller right here. But I mean, it came up mechanical selling right off that G half back, peak volume. People don't want to be the people fighting here. They know there's better opportunity to buy it a little bit lower. But yeah, I think like I mean we could just get a bunch of chop really back and forth. We got some nice upside early, but there could just be some balancing for the rest of the week as we go into Wednesday. The Fed minutes come out. And remember, if you want to be able to trade the Fed minutes correctly, just be here, take a red pill, and pay attention. And remember, I'm not trading the reports per se. I'm trading the reaction of the participants of these reports. Right? So we see these reports come out, the market's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go left, it's going to go right. They're just going to go crazy. And we're trying to see one, where that impulse starts from, and two, where is price staying? Is price staying above or is it staying below that initial impulse? That's the key. When that news smacks the wire, where does the market go, and does it go back through where it went? Does it go below and stay below? Like I mean, that's the key. Yeah, I think we'll call it here. Normally when we get off, the market starts to break anyway, so perfect. Give us some action. I'm gonna get a workout in, and I got a couple of things to do around the house today. Uh, I was thinking about doing a stream tonight just to go over the overall market, but not really a good opportunity. What I'd like to do is stream Tuesday night in preparation of that Fed well, the Fed minutes coming out. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in stocks, and maybe we can capitalize on it. Um, Other than that, if we don't have any more questions, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. And if you have any questions, just jump in the Discord and uh, tag me, shoot me a message, and I will get back to you definitely as fast as possible. But yeah, hopefully you guys have some opportunity today to get some exercise. If it's not nice outside, just walk around the house, get that heart pumping, get away from the screen for a little bit, or I mean, you can even see the screen, but just get your heart moving. And yeah, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.